New video, guys. So we're gonna switch it up a little bit. I got I went out and bought something. I don't need the whole thing, so I need to go through and tear all of the stuff that I do want to keep off of it, so that way I can get it out of here and get it out of my way. And yeah, I'll just go on and show you what it is. So a new Cub. Well, new. I'm not sure of the year, 2000s, early to late 2000s, whatever. It's almost exactly like the one that I used to mow the grass. It's got just a few minor changes, nothing super big. The hood's plastic. Oh, and then there's this. The giant 24 horse V twin that's in there. Thing's a lot bigger than I thought it was going to be. So that is 100% of the reason why I bought this. I had been looking for one of those V twins for quite a little while. All of the ones that I found were garbage in one way or another. This one supposedly is good, ran when parked kind of thing. We'll find out. It does spin, and it doesn't sound crunchy or anything when I spin it. So I'm hoping it's good. But I can go through it, new gaskets, and change the oil and filter and all that kind of stuff like that, and make triple double sure it's good. But then other than that, the rest of this is pretty much scrap. It had a 50-inch deck on it, which I am going to keep because I believe the one that's on the Cub that I mow the grass with is only like a 46. And, every inch counts, right, guys? So other than that, the one that I use has, for some strange reason, had two different rear tires on it. So I got me a new rear tire out of the deal. I'll probably just pull the whole rim and tire off there and slap it on the other one. I'm not going to fiddle with taking the rubber off that. The rims on this are good, except for the fronts. They're completely flat, and then the rubber's toasted. That's whatever. Other things, though, some of the unexpected wins out of this purchase is a battery. Don't get me wrong, it's a dead battery, but it might still be a good battery. So we're going to try and regen that. That'll be a nice little W. And then so the engine, I was looking for that for one of the big V-twin engines because I wanted to put it on the Scoot and sort of get some more get up and go other than that 16 horse that was on there. So I found this, and then I already had in my Amazon cart the steering column and then all of the steering linkages, because I figured I could try and make that work with my new front end setup that you guys see me weld on there. Well, now I don't have to buy that stuff because I now have all of the parts to put on it. So, that was another win, and we made out pretty decent as far as I could tell, right now. So I guess for today, just to kick this off, because like I said, I need to get this out of my way so I can finish the little mini bike. I'm gonna start tearing into it. I'll get the hood off of it and start really digging in and seeing exactly what all I'm gonna save and what all I'm gonna scrap, and definitely firing up the heater because it's like 2 degrees. So let's get at it. Back out in the shop for the limited time that I have since we're on overtime. But I really need to make progress on this mower. So I have already yesterday. I decided to pull the other mower around, the one that I actually cut the grass with, and see what I can do with that. Well, it didn't want to start, so I wound up screwing around with the battery and doing all kinds of stuff, and that eating a lot of the time that I had away. I did during that time get the rear tires swapped out, so that's already done. And then I pulled the new deck up here into the shop, and I got it leaned up against the cabinet here. So I think I'm going to tinker with that for a little bit today. Don't really know exactly how deep I'm going to dig into it. I'll definitely go through with like a wire brush and sort of just clean it up, you know, get it to where I can work on it without dealing with a bunch of crap, you know, just mud and gunk in the way. I think I'm going to need at least one new blade spindle for it. Not necessarily immediately, but it's probably not too far off. And I would, to be honest with you, I would, because I have the deck that's on the mower now, and then I have another deck out there. Well, it's the one on the Craftsman, and the one on the Craftsman is not even getting used anymore. You know, so I can strip them off of that. The problem is I think they are, I think that the actual spindle housing, I guess you would call that, the part that actually bolts to the deck, is, I think the ones on that mower are bigger. You know, they're deeper or longer or whatever metric you want to put on it. So I don't know if it's going to work. I'll just have to go out there and look and see what I can do. You would think, honestly, that the spindles on the lawnmower I'm currently using, or the deck that I'm currently using, would transfer over, because it's Cub Cadet stuff. But this is a 3-blade deck, that other one's 2-blade deck, so there might be a difference there. You know, I don't personally know, so we'll just see what I can see, you know, figure it out. But then I definitely gotta replace the little runner wheels, and then the roller that's on the front of the decks. I guess that one's not, you know, bad, but it's also not really good. So I'm gonna at least place the roller. The bar's fine, but I don't know, that I would prefer personally for the roller to sort of span that whole length of that thing, and not, you know, not be small like that. But yeah, I don't know. I'm just gonna tinker on this for a little bit today, see how far I get. One more day until Friday, guys. I'm so very excited. Done with overtime. Well, got one more day, but anyways, new day out in the shop. I'm gonna go out, I believe, real quick. I don't know. I was thinking about maybe going out to the shed and trying to pull the deck off the Craftsman, so I can get the 2 spindles off of it. I don't really know, though. Now that I'm out here kind of standing around looking at stuff, there's some other sort of like minor tasks, I guess we could call them, on the 50-inch deck that I could get done. They're the holes on the deck that are for the little guards that go on to block stuff from falling in and hitting the belt and stuff like that. I need to probably at least chase the threads on those, because they're very rusty, and maybe, depending, even I might wind up sort of re-threading them, maybe the next size up, and then just grabbing some bolts out of the bin and using them. I did go to Tractor Supply yesterday, and I kind of lucked out, because I guess apparently, and I was unaware of this, but apparently Tractor Supply carries Cub Cadet parts and stuff. I mean, nothing for like the engine or anything like that, but like they have belts and blades and all kinds of other stuff like that are you know, Cub Cadet brand, so that stuff should fit, you know, depending on what model or whatever. But so I wound up getting color matching paint, the Cub Cadet yellow, so the deck will match the tractor. I mean, it does kind of now, but there's rust spots and stuff like that I kind of want to take care of. And I got some other stuff. I got some little plastic sort of nubbins to take care of an issue that I had on the Cub that I mow the grass with. So actually, to be honest with you, I'll probably do that first. So let me get them out of the bag, and I'll bring it back in and just kind of give you a quick rundown of that. All right, so these are kind of what I got. There's little knobs, right? And they got a hole in them with a little bit of a recess down there at the bottom. So what I'm thinking is I can put a rib nut through there and, you know, cinch it up It's where it kind of joins these together, and I can take, that's going to replace these. Now these are, so on that Cub Cadet I got, it's got, so on the battery tray, on the front side of the battery tray, there's a bar that you lay over the top of the battery, and then on either side of that bar there are threaded rods that come up, and you sort of feed these down on there, and it's supposed to keep that bar from bouncing around and hold your battery in. Well, so these are 100% plastic, right? And so they thread down on there and they do the job, but I would like something a little bit more robust, as it were. And so I got these. I'm gonna do the riv nut thing and throw them on there. That should be a super quick job that I can knock out. I do need to grab some rib nuts out of the case I got them in over there, and kind of take a couple different sizes out there and sort of see what is going to fit before I put them in there, because I'd prefer not to have to go buy more of those. I think, guys, okay, I'm pretty sure these were like, I want to say $4 or $5 a piece for a little plastic knob that essentially does nothing as it is. Like, you have to modify it in order to make it work. Something like that shouldn't cost that much, but whatever. That's the times we live in. Yeah. So let me grab them riv nuts, go do that, and we'll see what else I can get into today. Well, so we got those two little plugs on. Like I said, it was a pretty quick and painless little job. I feel like this will work a lot better. It's a much more solid connection than those little rubber, or just the plastic, you know. And yeah, everything works fine, closes as it should. You know, got plenty of room. But yeah, so now all I gotta do is just get the deck off. I'm gonna push this out, and then I'm gonna move the Craftsman forward so I can drop the deck on it. Yeah, that's what we're gonna do. Since we're already out here, I don't need any tools to do any of that stuff. And worst come to worst, I got a really old pair of pliers there that I can use to pry on stuff. Let's do it. Think we're gonna wrap it for today, but I figured I'd give you a little progress updates. I got them shields put on. That was super duper easy. All I had to do was just chase the threads and put some bolts through. There is one bolt down there that I am gonna have to cut, because the only one I had that had the thread pitch that I needed was relatively long. So, but yeah, when I come back out tomorrow, because it's Friday, well, I don't know. I got plans to go into the city tomorrow and pick up a bunch of stuff. So maybe Saturday when I come back out here, I'll really put a concerted effort into getting as much progress done on this as possible. And then really, after that, it'll just be getting the engine tore out of this. And then once I get the engine off of this, it'll be stripping the steering stuff off, which should be super easy with the engine off of it. And then I'm going to strip all the wire off of it and get the copper from that. But other than that, that'll be ready for the scrapyard. I can get it out of my way, get the bike back over here, and finish that up. Well, also I've made a measure of progress on the deck here. Today I'd like to try and get a fair amount of work done. All I think I have left to do, so I got the blade spindles pulled off the deck that was on the Craftsman. I think they're gonna work. I mean, they fit, of course, the bolt pattern or whatever, but the body of them is just a little bit thicker, so the blades will be closer to the ground. But I don't really know if that's going to be an issue or not, because I don't whenever I mow, I don't lower the deck very much. The spindles being a little bit longer I don't necessarily think that's going to be an issue. I haven't put them on yet because I'm going to clean all that stuff off of it, the dirt and stuff. Everything left to do on the deck is stuff that I may as well pull the other one in here, get that deck off of it, because it's stuff I'm going to be pulling off of that deck. So other than that, I just need to, I already have it disconnected from everything, but I just need to pull the engine off of there. I got a nice little wooden dolly from Harbor Freight to set it on, and then pull the steering out of it. It really shouldn't take that long. I'll see how far I get on stuff today. I'm not really quite sure what I'm going to tinker with. I'm sure I'll pop back in here in a little bit and show you some progress of some kind. A few hours later, and I got like 3 coats of paint on that thing. It's going to need more. Really, because of the kind of paint it is, you're supposed to spray 1 coat on and then wait 24 hours. Ain't nobody got time for that, so I just sprayed light coats, gave like 20 or so minutes, and then, did that 3 or 4 times, getting a little heavier with the coat each time. It doesn't have to be perfect by any means whatsoever. It's I'm going to be using it to mow the grass. It's going to get beat up. There's going to be grass clippings and mud and who knows else what's on there. I did make some kind of an attempt to cover up the stickers that were on the deck. Listen, you guys know this. I don't have to explain this, but you start covering up stickers and taking them off and all those kinds of things, you're going to lose horsepower, you're going to lose performance. That's just how she goes, okay? But other than that, I got the engine is ready to be pulled. Lift it off there. Oh, wait, no. I lied to you. My bad. I got to finish unhooking the exhaust there, or the muffler or whatever. Then I can take the engine off. It's all disconnected and unbolted and stuff. Then I can finish taking the steering out and get this thing out of my way. But I think for today I'm going to shut her down, go in and clean up, and go to bed for work. We'll pick it back up tomorrow. Got the door fixed. Super happy about that. Sun's bright. So, I've actually been out in the shop for a little while now, maybe 30, 45 minutes, whatever. Just kind of came out here and started right away, and I'm trying to get, so the PTO that's on the bottom of that engine is the bolt is all the way in there, and so I've kind of been spraying it, heated it up a little bit, sprayed it again, and got kind of bored doing that over and over and over again. So I was like, well, I'll tinker with something else. So I took the cover off the engine. I guess, man. Got some, there's a little baby one that's been there for a long time, because, it's a skeleton. And then here's maybe an adult mouse. I don't think I've ever pulled anything apart yet that had a mouse nest in it, so this will be a first for me. I'm gonna grab some gloves and get that out of there. Here we are. I've made it. I've got the steering column or shaft out. There were some little extra bits that I had to do in there. I wasn't just pulling that out, of course. But I got the engine off. And I'm just going to rip the wiring out of it just real quick, because it's all, a solid 90% of it's right up here. There's only like 1 or 2 wires that trail back And then, man, and then really, so believe I had mentioned I was thinking about robbing the front cross member off of this, and that'd be the only thing left to do. And then I guess this one could be done. I mean, there's a little bit more work that I still want to get done on the deck. There you go. Remember my words. But as stated before, I'm at the point with this now that I gotta pull the other mower up here and get the deck off of it. So I don't exactly know what all is going to happen today. We'll have to see what's going on. Nice paint bubble there in my new paint job. Got all of that crap tore off of there. It went relatively smoothly. Once I was hung up on the flywheel clutch assembly thing that was on the bottom of the engine. Once I got that off, bam, I was very quickly able to knock the rest of that stuff out, because everything was just one bolt here, one bolt there, all super cool. So now I'm kind of at a fork in the road, so to speak. So I got that cross member off, right? But now here's the problem. Is, obviously that's going to make that really fun to load into the back of a truck. So I'm kind of faced with maybe pushing the Craftsman up here and just swapping those cross members out. I don't know how long that'll necessarily take. That does mean that I will have to do all of the same stuff on the Craftsman that I did on this, then put it all back together and wheel the Craftsman back out there. Don't really know if I got time to do that today before I go to sleep, but I don't know. We'll tinker around here for a little while longer. Maybe clean up some of the tools that'll help me game plan what I want to do, and we'll see what happens. So I finally got the parts for the deck in. That's kind of what I've been waiting on for the past, I'd say a day or so maybe. 3 brand new spindles. I know I said I was going to try and use some stuff from the other one, but they wound up being too tall. I think the blades were going to be just way too close to the ground, like if I lowered the deck at all. And then, the second reason, which was really more of the deciding factor, was I only had 2 of one size, and then I would have 2 of another size. So I didn't have enough to make all 3 of them the same. I didn't want to do that. These rebuild kits for decks are fairly cheap now, so it's not that big of a concern. And, plus I get all new hardware, so then I don't have to worry about none of it for a little while. Should be good to go. I got oil ready to go. I got a new spark plug for it. Really, I think for today, the first thing I'm going to tackle is there's a bar down underneath here that is sort of a part of the system that raises and lowers the deck up off the ground. You can see it there. It's too long. This is currently adjusted as far back as it can go, and I still have, I'd say, probably a good inch of room that it needs to go back at least, and probably a little bit more than that, to be honest with you. So I think I'm going to work on that today, which means I got to get that out of there, and then I'll figure out whether or not I need to cut, and I can just, cut, since it's going to be backed out so far, I'm going to have to cut the ends of them off, so I need to figure out how much I need to cut off, and then I need to figure out whether or not I'm going to have to thread more up on the front here so I can run the nut further in. I think that'll be more than enough work for today. I do have to go to bed at some point, and I might change the oil as well. I might have time for that. So I got the deck on, and it looks really good on there. Just noticing the difference in my eye, I looked at that 46-inch deck forever, and It fills the tractor out a bit more. I think it looks nice, you know. I had to swap the front two roller wheels out. So the issue that I'm having, the reason why I did that is because the bar that's underneath here, that's on the front, that lifts the front end of the deck up. I had to take that out, shave it down, you know, and rethread it and do all kinds of stuff to it. Well, so I have it adjusted as far back as it'll go, and the front of the deck is still lower than the back. So I'm gonna have to do some more finagling with that, but then also to kind of compensate for that, because those other wheels were a little bit bigger than those. So I swapped those out. Now we're a little better position there. As stated, though, I'll have to take that bar back off and thread down a little bit more so I can pull it back a little bit further. It shouldn't need too big of an adjustment, but we'll see how she goes. That'll be a later problem. I think the only thing left that I'm going to do for now is change the oil. And I already made that the little coil or whatever it's called. No, well, the cover's on there, you can't see. That little magnet that sits in here, that needed to be readjusted. I needed to move it a little bit closer. I've already done that. Reset that. I got a new battery in there. I'll have to hook it up before I try and fire it. But yeah, I think oil's what I'm gonna do real quick. That's kind of what I'm in the mood to get done. Besides all that, I got a little bit of an oil leak there, you can see. So that'll give me an opportunity to take care of that problem as well. Oil change is done. There was no sealing tape or thread tape around that, so I just threw some in there. And also it was very loose. I don't know if it was like that, you know, the whole time and I just didn't notice it, or if it worked itself loose, whatever. That's all buttoned up. New oil filter on. Super simple stuff. The not so super simple stuff was I took the carburetor off to clean it, and because it was flooding. I don't know. I guess I just didn't think of it when I was doing it, but I don't have those. I don't have any of those gaskets, and so I was looking around. I went to a couple stores here and there, and it's not. They don't have the gaskets that I'm looking for. I don't know what's going on with that. So I looked on Amazon, and coming in today or tomorrow, I should have just a whole new carburetor, some new fuel line, and a couple of other bits and bobs that come in like a rebuild kit. So we're not too worried about that. I'll cross that bridge when I get there. To continue on, I guess, for the next little section here, I decided I was going to do some 3D printing, because I never have enough 3D printing to do, I guess. And so let me get this set here. So when I'm mowing the grass, I like to listen to stuff, and I don't have, I don't like having my phone in my pocket, so that, you know, when the podcast or the song or whatever it is I'm listening to gets over, I don't have to dig in my pocket while I'm trying to mow the grass. So I put this on there. It's just a little magnet, one of the car phone holder magnets, and then my phone has a magnet on the reverse side of the case. But I need something down here to keep the phone from bouncing around and shaking and doing all kinds of crazy stuff. And I did at one point in time just use some foam duct taped on there. I said, well, you know, I can do better than that. So I designed me up a little part that I'm gonna riv nut down onto there, and just that should hold the phone a lot better. If need be, I'll take a piece of that foam and just cut a real thin strip to put across the front here, so the phone doesn't do too much bouncing, because that's hard plastic, so it's probably gonna rattle a little bit. Should be a super easy thing. I gotta clean this up a little bit, and then mark out where I'm gonna mount it on there, drill the holes, riv nuts, and then bolt it down on. It should be simple. Well, we've made it to a point. I got the new carb on. It's all tuned in. I just got done doing that. Put some gas in it. Got the belt on. I got the deck on. Everything's buttoned up there. Yeah, it seems to be running tip top. I just checked the oil once I got everything warmed up. Everything's cool. You might be able to notice though that the steering wheel is off of it, and that's because yesterday when I was backing in here, I was cranking it to get around here. There's a pretty sharp corner right here that I got to take, and the steering wheel just started freewheeling, and so took it off, and the little bushing, I 3D printed a little bushing to sort of take up some of the free space in between the steering wheel and the steering shaft. That had split and was no longer doing its job. So easy enough fix though. I'll just print another one. It'll give me an opportunity to make some improvements to it anyhow, maybe make it fit a little bit better or something. So just I guess to round out the day, I'm gonna go print another one of them little bushings. I think it only takes about an hour or so. I got more than enough time for that. And so yeah, that's what we're gonna do. Then maybe I'll fire it up, rev it a little bit for you guys. Well, alright guys. It's the end of the day in the shop. And I think I have everything figured out. Unfortunately, I had to switch back to the original steering wheel for now. The collar that the actual steering wheel attaches to, the adapter that I had, just was giving me more trouble than it was worth. Did some Googling, some surfing on Amazon. I got a new one coming in, but I said I might fire it up for you guys, so here we go. Hopefully it doesn't make a liar out of me. Here we go. Yeah, I think this one's gonna be done for now. And whatever's left on here, I'll just do off camera as I go along, whatever. Thanks everybody for watching. Catch you in the next one.